Hi, welcome to episode 323 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy Kira on Twitter and Instagram. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, which is where this episode show notes and every episode show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea where I sell my hand-spun yarns and my patterns. And that's about it. I am on Ravelry, but I'm currently not using that. So, hi, how are you? It is Monday, April 5th. I hope that you are enjoying a lovely day wherever you are. It is nice and warm around here. We have all the windows open, put my hair up, and am just enjoying a really nice day. It was a crafty weekend and I have lots of things and I'm on deadline now, so I am moving as fast as I can. Thank you so much for bearing with me last week. I had trouble with the first recording and no sound was recorded, and then I had to re-record and release that on Wednesday. But hopefully this week everything will be fine and will go smoothly. And I do have a few things to show you and talk to you about. One of the things that I'm working on this week, and I do not know if you will be able to see it when you go look at the website, is that I am debuting a new website this week. And I am doing that for a variety of reasons that all sort of cropped up at the same time, and I am in the process of transferring my domain from the old site to the new site. So right now it points at the old site, and I will be putting show notes up at the old site and the new site, and then at some point this week it's going to switch over. So when you have a chance, you're welcome to check that out. I decided to do that for a few reasons. First of all, my current website is hosted on WordPress.com. It is a free blog, and I have found that in the last several months the advertising has sort of become egregious. It's like after every bullet point there's a new ad, and I really don't like that. So I have decided that it is time to move to a paid platform where I can control the content that you're seeing, and you don't have to see random Google advertisements when you try and look at the show notes. Second of all, I decided that I wanted to revamp my website a little bit, particularly in light of what is going on with Ravelry. One of the pages that you will see on my new website is a page called Patterns. And what I have done there is I have created a directory of all of the patterns that I have created. So you'll see a photo, you'll see a title and a brief description about what the pattern is, whether it's for a cowl or a shawl or I think that's most baby blanket. And then you will see in the third column links that are clearly identified as where they go. I am working, because I have been inconsistent. Theoretically, my patterns have been available at Lovecrafts and Etsy for a while, but when I went and looked, I realized that not all of my patterns that are available on Ravelry are available on Etsy. So I cleaned that up this weekend. Any pattern that I own that is available for purchase is now available in my Etsy shop. And like I said, on the patterns page, you will see the directory basically says it's available on Etsy with a link to Etsy, it's available on Ravelry with a link to Ravelry, or where it is available. I have a few patterns that are available on blogs elsewhere, and I have a couple patterns that were available as lead generators for Ukaland, and so you have to sign up for their newsletter to get the pattern. And so there are links to all of those things there. I only have 2 patterns at this point that are free downloads from Ravelry that I need to fix. One of them is my own pattern, and so I'm going to make the PDF available via my website. I just haven't done that yet, so that is on the list for this week. And the second one that I need to check about is I did release a pattern with Zen Yarn Garden not that long ago, and it is a free download on Ravelry, but technically it was a collaboration and it's on the Zen Yarn Garden template, so I just need to double check if they are okay with my adding that PDF to my website, and if that is the case, then it will be possible to get all of my patterns off Ravelry. So that is my goal this week, and because I was trying to revamp my website and add some new things and remove some ads and just make it more usable for all of us, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, and that's what I have been spending a lot of my weekend doing this weekend. So theoretically moving forward, all of my patterns will be on Etsy, and I have not decided whether I'm going to go back and well, okay, I've not decided whether my new patterns will be available on Ravelry or not. I have decided, at least for the moment, not to change what is already on Ravelry, because there have also been some problems with folks moving their stuff off of Ravelry, and Ravelry pattern entries getting changed in the database by editors. So I don't want to create a situation where my patterns are unavailable. So I am trying to sort of work through this while also creating opportunities for those folks who do not want to be on Ravelry. I did participate, or I am participating in the logging out of Ravelry, and so I will not be logging in for another few days to stand in solidarity with those who can no longer use it. And I'll be honest, now that it has switched over, it makes my eyes hurt. So my participation in forums and elsewhere is going to be really limited because I don't find it a comfortable site to use. So that's sort of where I'm at, but you can find all the information at my new website, which, as I said, should go up sometime this week. So that's kind of the news that's fit to print. Let's go ahead and start the episode. Today I am drinking a chocolate orange tea that was given to me in an exchange with another knitter several years ago. So I do not know where it is from. It came in a nice little Ziploc bag with her nice handwriting, and I had sent her some in the same. So I am drinking that in my Oy Vey all day mug. So that is what I've got. Ooh, that's really nice. It's nice and orangey with just a light chocolate taste. Sometimes I find chocolate teas are a little bit weird because they don't taste very much like chocolate, but that is mostly orange and that is delicious. So let's talk about what's on my needles. Last week I showed you that I was starting a new sample for Zen Yarn Garden. It is the Painting Honeycombs blanket pattern by Stephen West, and I am using Zen Yarn Garden Superfine DK in a variety of colors. My main color is a gray, and then my other colors kind of echo the colors in Stephen West's sample blanket. And last week I showed you I had a few sections of the blanket done. It turns out that I ripped that. Of course, I never start a sample knit without ripping because I was using up the yarn just a little bit too quickly. So I dropped a couple needle sizes, which is probably what I should have done in the beginning, and I have completed one full repeat of the colors. So I'm spreading it out so you can see. As I said, this is the Painting Honeycombs pattern, and I've got kind of that jade green, and then an aquamarine, and then a dark teal, orange, yellow, berry, magenta or hot pink, and then I've got my light pink here, and I'm just ready for one more section of the gray before I start the colors over again. So I am super pleased with that. I am 1/7 of the way done, and I hope it will grow when I block it. I'm sure it will because it is superwash, and so I'm getting roughly a gauge, not quite, but I think it will, like I said, grow quite a bit, and my only concern is the main color, whether or not I will have enough of that to complete the blanket. Sometimes Stephen West patterns are close on yardage. I would really like to have enough because I have 1,500 yards of the main color, and that says I should have enough. But the whole blanket is over 3,000 yards, so I'm really hoping that I have enough in the prescribed amount, but we shall see. I will definitely have enough in the colors because I've been weighing those, and so those I can tell. So like I said, that is the Painting Honeycombs blanket. It is a great kind of repetitive pattern, and it's got I-cord edgings, which are very pretty. And then the other thing that I have been learning, which I have to say is wonderful, there is a technique linked in the pattern, but you can also get to it just if you Google it. Stephen West has made a video about working in your ends as you go, and he calls it the Weavin' Stephen, and you can add all kinds of different, you can just do one end or you can do both ends, and theoretically that means that when you get to the end of the project you will not have to weave in any ends. Now I didn't start the project this way, so I still have some ends to weave in at the bottom, but as you can see on my next couple sections, on the berry, the red berry, and the pink, and this pink I have started. I have been weaving in my ends as I go, so all I will need to do after, probably going to wait till after I block so that if this stretches out more, I will be able to, I won't have to worry about, you know, the end popping out because I didn't weave it in enough. But those are already woven in, so I will not have to go back and do those. So that was kind of exciting and a tip. Like I said, just Google Weavin' cousin Steven, and you will get the West Knits video where he shows how he weaves his ends in, and I really, really like it. I will be using that on more of my projects because it is a really, really handy tip. So thumbs up for that. Again, painting honeycombs. Only modification is that I am knitting it on a size 5. It calls for a size 7, and I'm still getting close to gauge, so that is just my knitting tension. But I am so pleased with it. The colors are just so, so pretty. And I can't wait to start again tonight on the green and the blue. So I will just continue repeating this. It will look a little repetitive over the next few weeks, but hopefully, I'm hoping maybe 3 weeks, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm hoping maybe 3 more weeks, but we'll have to see. So you'll see this one for a while. The next thing that I worked on this week is actually something that I talked about but hadn't shown you before, and that is I am knitting a hat pattern for Brown Sheep, their Lana Boucle. And that is some really fun yarn. I showed that to you a few weeks ago, and it is their Aran weight, and it's a boucle, so it's kind of a textured yarn. It looks like wool fiber, and then it's plied with, I don't remember what it, I should look at the tag. That would help me, wouldn't it? It looks like it's plied with a slightly different textured and different width, so it gives you that kind of nubbly finish. Let's see what they say. What do they say? They say it is 97% wool, 3% nylon. So I'm going to go with the wool is the thick part and the nylon is the thin part. And they are dyed, so there's not like a color difference, but you can see all that wonderful nubbly texture. So my challenge for this was to come up with a fairly simple hat pattern, but one that did not detract from the nubbly texture or one that made use of the nubbly texture. So as I was going through my stitch dictionaries, I found all kinds of things that had really cool looking patterns, but I just wasn't sure how much they were going to show up or if they were going to detract from this, or I mean, it really was a question of I wasn't sure how much they were going to actually display because it's already so textured. So what I have settled on is a really, really simple pattern. It is a 8-row repeat, and it involves some slipped stitches and some purled stitches. So that is what I have here. You can see the beginnings of that, and as you can see, it's a pretty subtle pattern because of the fact that it is so nubbly and textured, but you can see those purl stitches kind of popping out. So I am using 2 colors in this hat, and now I'm sort of wishing I had gotten more contrasty colors, but the reason that I picked the colors that I did was because I was hoping that this would be sort of another Hat Not Hate project, which is Lion Brand's anti-bullying campaign, and they request blue hats each year to donate to kids in schools in October for World Anti-Bullying Day, and it's a cause that I really, really like. I support them every year. I try and knit blue hats. It's why you'll find most of the hats, possibly all of the hats that I have designed are blue. I did actually go ahead and order another colorway so I could do some in slightly more contrasting. So I'll have a couple different samples knit up. But as you can see, I used the navy in the 2x2 ribbing at the bottom, and then I'm using the, I don't remember what the colorway is. Let me see. Sea Jade. The colorway is called Sea Jade, but it's a real kind of turquoisey color, and that you can sort of see the subtle differences. My camera doesn't do blues that well. So I'm working on this, and basically what I need to do is just work till I get the height of the hat that I want, and then work in my crown shaping, and then write up the pattern, and then I'm going to knit up a couple others, and of course this will have a pom-pom. I'm thinking about doing the navy blue pom-pom for the top of this one. I will probably knit one solid one, and then I will knit one probably with a, I got a brighter color, so you'll see that. So it won't be blue, but it'll give you an idea of how you can work this in one or multiple colors. Again, the yarn that I'm using is Brown Sheep Lana Boucle, and I was sent this yarn for review, so 3 of the 4 skeins that I will be using to work on the hats were for free. I'm really enjoying it. I haven't really knit with a boucle yarn before, and sometimes I think some of the boucles that I've seen are like mohair and they have lots of extra loops, and so that I find a little bit frilly, but this is just kind of a nice woolly nubbly texture. It's dyed in I think either 16 or 20 of their standard colorways, so it's got a nice colorway spectrum. And it just seems really warm and cozy, which of course is wrong for this time of year, but that's what I'm doing. So this pattern will be available. I'm going to publish it. It will be a paid for pattern, although there will be a discount at the beginning, and it will be published in my Etsy store, and then I will decide later if I want to add it to Ravelry. So keep an eye out for this. This will be coming by the end of April. It kind of depends how quickly I get through my samples, because I have lots and lots and lots to knit, and get the pattern done and the photos and those kinds of things. But it will be by the end of April because I have committed to that. So that is kind of an exciting thing that's coming in the next couple weeks. Hopefully I'll have a finished hat to show you next week, and maybe a second sample on the needles. So that is what I'm currently working on there. I am getting excited because the Knitathon is coming up on this Sunday. If you have been watching for a little while, you know that I am joining Laura Nelkin's Knit for Food Knitathon, which is this Sunday, April 11th. And the aim is to raise awareness about food insecurity, particularly in light of the pandemic, but there were problems even before the pandemic. We have raised over $160,000 at this point, which is amazing, and all of those proceeds are going to be divided towards between 4 causes for food insecurity. It's Chef Andre's World Kitchen, I always do this every single time. My brain just goes blank. No Child Hungry, and 2 others. I'll put them all on my site, but they are 4 well-known, Meals on Wheels, and then I can never remember the 4th. So those are the 4 charities that we're raising money for. We have done a great job, and I will be knitting from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. this coming Sunday for the Knitathon. I have been training, I have been winding my yarn, I will be working on my hats, I will be working on my West Knits blanket, and then I also brought along one other blanket to show you. I think I've shown you this semi-recently because I was working on it a little bit, but I am working on a blanket for charity. This is most likely going to go to Project Linus. I had some leftover yarn from the blankets that I knit for my niece and nephew last year. It is Stylecraft DK, which is 100% acrylic, and it is a lovely yarn that comes in 50 or 60 shades. It's quite a few shades, kind of across the rainbow spectrum, and I had some pinks, and so I decided to put them together in kind of a pink gradient blanket. So I have my kind of electric fluoro pink that just blows out the monitor, and then in the middle I have fondant, and then at the end I have candy floss, and I have now finished the transfer from fondant to candy floss, so all I have left is this ball of yarn, and then I will add a garter stitch border just like I did at the beginning. It was just a few. I am knitting I think it's called the Waves blanket. It was a pattern on a Karen cake. So it is just a really simple chevron blanket, and when none of my other tried and true methods worked, I just went ahead and used this one. It is super simple. It is a 2-row repeat, and really the second row is purl. So basically it's 1 pattern row, and I now have it memorized and can do this anywhere at any time. And I decided it would be really cool if I could finish this during the charity knit-a-thon, so I brought it to show you. Hopefully, maybe next week I'll bring the finished blanket to show you. It won't be washed, and I guess these don't really block. It won't be completely washed because it will be on Sunday night that I finish it, hopefully before 10 p.m. But I'm hoping maybe I can show you this finished blanket. I do have another blanket exactly like this one in the works, and that one is kind of a, it's like a neon tangerine, and then kind of a coral, and then a light peach. So I will work on another one of these. Hopefully I'll get these done by the end of the year. These are taking a backseat to some of the other sample knitting that I'm doing right now, but as I said, I hope to work on them a little bit during the knit-a-thon. And finally, if I run out of things to do, I do have a few more skeins of worsted weight, and I might do some hats for kiddos. I may actually concentrate on this one, since this is sort of a, I will be donating most of my samples to charity when I get done. All the blue ones will go towards Hat Not Hate. So I will be working on a variety of things on Sunday and hoping my hands hold out, and there may not be much knitting content the next Monday. My plan is to take some pictures, maybe post some short videos throughout the day. Thank you if you have sponsored me. Thank you so much. I know a few of you have, including there was someone by the name of Ashley who sponsored me, and I tried to what happens is when you sponsor, it sends me an email, and theoretically I can respond to the email and say thank you, and it will send it on to you. And when I tried to do that, the email bounced. So I did want to say, it wasn't Ashley, it was Andrea. Andrea, thank you so much for your contribution and for your kind words. It was really, really sweet. I am so excited to do this. I feel like I was born to do this, knit for hours and hours and hours, and I hope that I will share a little bit of content that will let you kind of see into, have a little window into what I am doing on Sunday. My plan is to do all my chores on Saturday, laundry and all of those things, and I'm also going to bake some yummy snacks on Saturday. I need to make some banana bread and do a few other things, and then my plan is to put my feet up and knit all day Sunday, and I'm super excited. So, sip of tea, and then we'll talk about spinning, and then I'll get you out of here. So last week I pulled out a beautiful braid of fiber from Woolfiend. It's Woolfiend. So there is a double D at the end. And I misspoke and said it was merino. It's actually Falkland, and it was in the colorway Wild Ride, which is reds and pinks and turquoise, little pops of turquoise. And it is a gorgeous braid, and a couple of you commented on it, and someone said, I can totally see you hoarding that for yourself. And it is funny that you should say that, because it looks quite a bit like a braid of fiber from 2F by Hand that I have been hoarding forever. And so I spun this one up, and this one will go into the shop, but I think the 2F by Hand one is probably going to stay in my Dragon's Hoard. So this is the finished yarn. It is absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, it is reds and pinks, and it is primarily reds and pinks. Magentas, just gorgeous colors. But it still does have those pops of turquoise in there, and then a little bit of lighter sections where there was a little bit of white, or where the pink was fading out into white, so it became a kind of a lighter pink. Like there you can see you've got kind of the turquoise and the lighter pink. This one is super squishy. It has not been washed yet. Falkland is a kind of merino, so I guess technically I wasn't really lying, but it is a breed of sheep, and it is fairly soft. It's a little bit longer stapled, which makes it really good for newer spinners if you're looking for good blends to try and start with. Blue-faced Leicester and Falkland are really nice because they're a little bit longer stapled than merino, which means than some of the really softest merinos. And that gives you a little bit more to grip onto, so it's not quite so slippery, and you don't have to add quite so much twist to hold the yarn together, whereas merino tends to be a little bit shorter stapled, and some people find it really slippery. So this is the yarn. It needs a good washing and thwacking, and then it will go up into the shop, and if this is your cup of tea, make a break for it. So this does look exactly like the kind of yarn I would save for myself, but since I have another braid of fiber that looks relatively similar, I will be saving that one, and this one can go to one of you if you would like. So this week I am working on more fiber with turquoise in it. I guess I didn't think about that, but I ordered more fiber from Apothecary Fabrications. She is a semi-local to me dyer who does beautiful yarns and fibers. I sort of have put myself on a yarn diet this year, which is not entirely true. I am kind of overwhelmed by the size of my yarn stash at this point. And because I do so many sample knits and reviews and receive yarn in from a variety of places, I do not get through my stash as fast as I would like to. So for this year I have, and I was doing, so little history before we get to the rest of the spinning. When I left my full-time day job, about 2.5 years ago, I moved home and started doing sort of a half-time job. And at that point, I went ahead and tried to give up some of my buying habits because my disposable income was less available. And so my buying habits sort of curtailed in the past couple of years, but then the pandemic happened, and basically I was buying anything and everything I could get my hands on for two reasons. First and foremost, I was trying to help all of my favorite local yarn stores, yarnies, online web stores, everyone keep their shops open, because I really didn't want anyone, particularly those small businesses, to be affected by the pandemic. Obviously they have been, but I really was trying to spend my money with people who I thought could really use it and would welcome it in a pandemic. So my stash actually grew quite a bit last year, more than it had in the previous years. And when I hit the beginning of this year, I just felt super, super overwhelmed by my yarn stash. So what I decided is, because I am spinning approximately a braid a week, I go through a lot of fiber in a year. And so my decision was that I would not buy yarn unless I absolutely needed it for something. For instance, if I needed a skein to finish something, or I did order skeins of yarn for the kids' sweaters because I didn't have what I needed, or I suppose I shouldn't say I didn't have what I needed. I didn't have yarn that I wanted to use or fit my specific purpose. So I am ordering some yarn, but in general, when I'm patronizing shops, I am very much trying to spend my money on fiber. So I placed another order with Apothecary Fabrications. Like I said, they are semi-local to me. I have bought their fiber at local festivals when it was possible. I have recently bought their fiber at my local yarn store because she carries some as well. But this time I decided to go straight to the source so she would get all of the income and proceeds. And I bought 2 braids, and so I am spinning up one of them this week. And this is Nisse, N-I-S-S-E, or it might be Nissa. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not sure what it, I didn't Google it, so I'm not sure what it stands for, but it is a gorgeous braid of reds and blues. So you've got this turquoise here, which is really bright and fun, and then you've got this deep cherry red, and the cherry red basically flows into a navy, and then we've got big sections of white. So this will be kind of a red, white, and blue braid. I wasn't intending it to be patriotic, and I'm not exactly sure that it's completely patriotic colors, because of course this is not really, yeah, anyway. It is a beautiful braid, and this is half of the fiber is already on the wheel, and this will also be going up in the shop. This is her 22 micron count merino, and it is super, super soft and fluffy. So I'm very excited about this. I love, love, love her fiber and her fiber prep. I am becoming more and more of a fan, and so I expect she's going to see lots of business from me in the future. And she is also, well, I actually don't know that, so I'm not going to say that. What I was going to say is that I think she might be a BIPOC creator, but actually I'm not sure about that. I did also buy more fiber this week from someone that I am sure is a BIPOC creator, and I will be sharing that, because another one of my goals this year is, as I make purchases, I would like to make more intentional purchases from creators of color. And BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. And there are several resources if you would like to support BIPOC makers. You can look at BIPOC in Fiber. That is an Instagram account. You can also look at Jeanette Sloan's site. She is a maker of color in the UK, and she put together a kind of BIPOC in Fiber directory of pattern designers, yarn dyers, all kinds of crafters and makers who are, as I said, Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. I also found a few other sites. Jillian Moreno put together a post 2 years ago that included all of the makers of color that she knows of who do fiber, and so I specifically purchased some yesterday from someone on her list, so when that comes in I will be able to share that with you. I'm very excited. I've been buying braids 2 at a time and then spinning through them so I can get them up in the shop and out to you. Most of them will not stay with me. I do have a couple fiber quantities that will stay with me. One final spinning note, and I'm starting to think about it, and it is early, but I am starting to think about it in light of recent events. I wonder if there is interest in doing a Tour de Fleece team this year. Typically, that has been a Ravelry based spin-along that runs in the summer, normally when the Tour de France goes on. I believe the Tour de France is going to go back to its regularly scheduled time this year. They delayed it last year because of the pandemic, and so we held Tour de Fleece in July, as we normally do, and then actually the Tour de France went in August and September, which was kind of fun to watch. This year I believe they're going to go back to their normal time, so usually it starts right around the end of June, beginning of July, and then runs through mid-July. The fact that I do not really want to be on Ravelry because, as I said, it causes some eye strain for me, and that I know that there are probably at least a few of you who cannot use Ravelry or will not use Ravelry, leads me to ask the question, do we want to do a team this year? I would be happy to host a team. To my way of thinking, it would be easiest to host it on social media. There is actually a Corner of Knit and Tea Facebook page, which I could start a group on if we wanted to host it there. We could also host it on Instagram with a hashtag. I do know that there are some of you who have reached out to me in the past and have said that you cannot, or that you do not use other social media, that Ravelry is your only social media. If that's the case, I could set up a thread on Ravelry as well. I would just say that I will not be there to participate in it as much as I have in years past. That said, if there is a group of folks who is not ready to move to a different platform, I could set up a thread there, and then what I could do is for prize draws, I could draw from both the Ravelry thread and wherever else we decide to congregate on social media. So if you are a spinner who has spun on my team before and is interested in joining, please let me know your thoughts on a Tour de Fleece team this year. I will say that the other thing that is coming up is the Summer Olympics, which means traditionally on Ravelry there have been the Ravellenic Games. And if we are interested in doing a Corner of Knit and Tea team for that, I can't remember whether that one has gone in teams or whether that one is just individual. I would be happy to knit along with the Olympics, and I would also be happy to make it a Corner of Knit and Tea sponsored knit along and provide some prizes. However, again, I don't really want to host it on Ravelry. So let me know your thoughts and we can talk about it, and we can move forward with some fun craft alongs for the year. So, thank you for joining me today. I should have said it at the beginning, but if this is your first time, welcome. I hope you enjoyed yourself and a little bit about what kind of crafting I do and information I share here. And if you were a returning viewer, thanks for spending time again with me today. The fact that you keep watching and commenting means so much to me. It makes me happy to keep producing videos and patterns and engaging and interacting with you. So I hope you have a lovely week ahead, and until I see you next time, I will say happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next week. Bye!